Hey, I'm Steve Krenz for Guitar Gathering. Thank you so much for joining us on this lesson as we continue in our series on arpeggios. Tonight we're going to be talking about creating licks out of the arpeggios that we know. You know, if you just do arpeggios by themselves, it just kind of turns into an exercise, kind of like scales. Until we can figure out how to put them into a musical setting, they're of no use to us. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So there's a PDF that goes along with tonight. You can go ahead and download that from the link that's in the YouTube description down below. And we're going to be focusing in on pages kind of 17 through 19. If you haven't been with us along the way, you can check out those earlier videos on YouTube. There's even workouts that we have for really getting arpeggios underneath your fingers. It's a big concept, so it's taken multiple sessions to get here. So let's go ahead and dive in. Go ahead and open up your PDF. And let's back up one page to page 16. And we had been talking, remember, about arpeggios, and we had put them in one position. And so we had done exercises up here in the 7th position in the key of C, doing things like just doing arpeggios in one position. But we've been doing them just basically one octave. 4-note arpeggios, but we've been doing in one octave. These are going to become the seeds that we will take and to create some licks that we can use in our soloing. So let's dive into it. On page 16, we talked about a simple little trick, taking this C major 7th arpeggio, and I'm going to approach it from a half step beneath it and add a little triplet to it. Half step below the C, there's the C, and I add a little triplet to it. Now, I wish I could claim this as my own work, but I am blatantly stealing this from the wonderful guitarist Jens Larson. If you are not familiar with his YouTube channel, I would encourage you to check it out. Lots of great, good, jazz-oriented content, but it is great. There's a lot of guys that put out stuff on YouTube, and a lot of it isn't great. Jens Larson is great. So definitely check out his stuff. This is a concept that Jens talks about. Approaching that arpeggio and just turning it into a triplet. Approaching it from a half step down and putting it into a triplet. There you go. If I did it on the D minor arpeggio, which is, I would approach the D minor from just a half step below it, so a C sharp, and you end up with a pattern like that. If I did it on the E minor, well, here's the E minor one. Now if I approach that from a half step below, F, G, and that can serve as the little jumping part to form an idea. When we're putting together these arpeggios in licks, you'll use the arpeggio to kind of jump you up or down, depending on which way you're taking it, and then you kind of wind out of it some way. So it's just kind of a way to set it up, and then you wind out of it with a different idea. So we've got that basic setup to it. Well, if I take that little seed, kernel of an idea, and put it over on page 17, what if I just added one note? If I went up the arpeggio and then back down. I just went down to the next scale tone. So I approach it from a half step below, I do my little arpeggio triplet, and then I go down a step. And I end up with a little bit longer lick, okay? So what if I did that in D minor? It would be, half step below, here's the D minor triad, and then I just go down a half step. I went down to the B, because that's what's in the key of C. We're in the key of C. What if I did an E minor? Okay, now, if I went to the next scale step down for that, there would be a whole step down to a C. Now, you'll find this little pattern is a great little pattern because chords often are connected to other chords. How should I put this? Some chords are like a Q and a U. You kind of always see them together, paired together. And these little turnarounds like this gets you from that E minor into an A minor, which is almost a lot of times how you're going to see that E minor go is into an A minor, and that one lands you conveniently on the 3rd of the A minor. The F major 7th, let's do the next one, the F major 7th. It goes to the E, and then I go down to the D. A lot of times at F major 7th, you would go from an F major 7th maybe to a G7 or to a D minor. Both of those have a D in them. And so if I'm switching to that chord, this little type of lick will get me to that. What if I did it on a G7? G7s almost always go to some sort of a C, and this lands us conveniently on the 3rd of the C. So if here's the chord changes. There you go. So, do you see the little trick we're doing? All we're doing is adding one note to this. If I did it on A minor, A minors go often, not all the time, but often to some sort of a D minor in the key of C. And that lands us up in the 3rd of the D minor. What if I did the one on B, which is a half diminished, B, D, F, and A, approach that B from a half step below, end up on a G there, and then I'm back to the C major. So that's the little idea that I have. So I'm going to turn on a track there that we have. You'll notice I put the chords over on page 17, those top 2 lines, I put the chords over the arpeggio that we're doing. Now you'll notice some of them have parentheses. What are those? Well, those are just common chords in how this is flowing. So even though we are going up the scale, C major 7th, D minor 7th, E minor 7th, F major 7th, I threw these extra chords in there because those are common chords that each chord tends to go to, and that'll show you how the lick goes. So we're going to put on the track here, and I'm going to play just that top example and show you how even just adding one note can create a line that's a little bit more interesting. 2, 1, 2, C major 7th, D minor, do that again. And now approaching the D minor. Beautiful. It's a simple idea. And if you take that little seed of an idea, now we can expand on it. So even just adding one note, I guess what I want you to see is solos are not these big mystical things that you just close your eyes and hope for the best. You can put together a solo like puzzle pieces. And I'm giving you some puzzle pieces that you can use to then add your own ideas to, and it gives you a starting point when you see a chord on a page. Now remember our super arpeggio trick with these as well. So over the C major 7th, I can go up to its 3rd, which is an E minor 7th, and I can play my E minor 7th lick. Over the D minor 7th, I can go up to its 3rd, the F, and play an F major 7th lick. So do you see how I'm just flopping these? Over an E minor 7th, I could play a G7 lick, although that's not going to work quite as well on that particular example there. A G major 7th might work a little bit better. But that one is the one that doesn't work. Works on the 1, works on the 2, doesn't work quite as well on the 3. On the 4, the F major 7th and the A minor 7th, that'll work fine. The 5, the G7, and you're substituting a B half diminished, that'll work fine too. A minor substituting a C, that'll work fine. B minor 7 flat 5, substituting D minor, no problem at all. So the only one that it doesn't work on is that 3, an E minor. Whenever you're in the 3 of the key, you can't really do that little trick with it. Okay. All right. So do y'all kind of understand what we did there? Let's let me just illustrate that for a second. We're going to turn on that track again, and I'm going to be playing the arpeggio. I'll try and do it if I can remember it. I'll try and do the arpeggio a 3rd up from wherever we're at. So over the first C major 7th, I'm going to be playing an E minor 7th. Over the D minor, I'm going to be playing an F. And we'll see how that sounds. I'm going to be playing E minor 7th to start off. F major 7. This is the one that it doesn't work on, the E minor 7th. So I'll play an A minor 7. Works perfect. Works perfect. The only one that it didn't work on is that E minor 7th there. Okay. But other than that, it's another option. So over the C major 7th, I could play, but I could also play the E minor. Both of those, so you get 2 for the price of 1. All right, so that's just one little idea. One little idea. All we did was take the triad and add a step back. What if I did a step back, but I went underneath that step? So I did something like this. So I didn't just go, I threw make a little triplet in there and went B, G, A. Okay, so I have 2 triplets now. What if I did it on the D minor? What if I did it on the E minor? You see, all I did was I just going above and below the note and then up to it. Let's turn the track on, see if this works. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the bottom example on page 17. What if I did my little trick where I'm going up a third? Here's the E minor 7th, so it doesn't work, but here's the F. Now, we're just going to let that play for a second. If I spun out of it into a different direction, I'm not saying it's rocket science, I'm just saying it's an idea. Okay, what are some other ideas that I could do with this? Well, we had this. What if I did a chromatic note in between those? So it ends up being. There, since it's only half step, I can't do it. There, I could do it there. Do you see what I'm doing? Now I'm just doing a little chromatic run down. Okay. What if I kept it going? What if I expanded that lick a little bit more and did that chromatic run down? What if maybe on a D minor 7th I went? I'm just doing a little chromatic F major 7 and then walking down. D minor 7. I'm just doing a little chromatic spin out of it. Do you see? Just an idea. I didn't have that one written down there, but there's 1,000 different ways you could spin out of these things, and that's how you build an idea. So when you look at, oh my goodness, I got a D minor 7th I need to solo over the top of, well, I automatically know I could go, or the F major 7th one. Throw that in a bunch of different places. And wobble around it a little bit more. Whoa. We're getting there. We're starting to create something. Okay? All right. Hey, flip over the page. That's just an idea of how we can use a little seed of an arpeggio into a lick. We're going to talk more about that. We're going to do a workout on this in a session or two, and we'll do that. Flip over the page. If I wanted to expand these arpeggios into larger ideas, Okay, well, I first have to get them underneath my finger, so that's what page 18 and 19 are. Okay, so if I had my C major 7th, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it as much as I can in this position, just every note of a C major 7th in this position. Well, I can actually start on the B, which is underneath it, the 7th. So I have a little chord block diagram there of that C major 7th. You'll notice the little diamonds. The diamonds are indicating that's the root. So I'm actually starting beneath the root. So the root appears here at the second finger on the 6th string at the 8th fret, on the 4th string at the 10th fret, and on the 1st string at the 8th fret again. Now, these aren't, this really isn't, you can turn these into licks if you want to, but I just want you to get the pattern of it. That's what it is we're doing here. So just like we expanded the 3-note licks, or 3-note arpeggios, now we're expanding the 4-note arpeggios. What if I did it on a D minor? Well, here's the D minor, but I could actually start it still in the position. The lowest note of the arpeggio would be a C. And then I get to the root of the D. What if I did an E minor? Oh my goodness, Steve, that looks like 1,000 different forms. No, it's 7. It's 7 different forms. It's not 1,000. It's 7. Don't get too intimidated by all of it. It's just 7 different forms. So, do I have to learn those in every key? No, you need to learn them once, and then you move keys. What if I needed them in B flat major 7th, and I just scoot it down here, put my second finger on this? What if I need a C minor? Well, it's right here. So, it's just a way for you to learn the scales. I would encourage you to practice them like this. So we have our F major 7th would have the second finger on the lowest C and then first finger on the E, F. This one is a little bit tricky because it changes position. And then I switch the 8th position right here on the C, hitch that high E there. Now going down, you'll notice the fingering slightly different. 4th, 1st, 3rd, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, then reach back for the 1. So that one I have to kind of switch positions in order to catch that high note. The G7, A minor. That one switches positions again, B minor 7th. There you go. So I would encourage you to practice that. People don't know where to practice. Start with this. Start with this. And try and get this in position. Turn on your metronome, sit there for 15 or 20 minutes and go. Now the D minor. And work your way up in that. That's how I would practice that. And then turn on a track, maybe like the little sample one that I've given you there. It's all free. You can go on to guitargathering.com, go to the little download section there. Everything is free. This session is in there on arpeggios. We've done another huge one on triads. All the resources there are free. You can download it and download that practice track in this arpeggios series and take that and download it and practice these arpeggio ideas as well. So we're going to get, I'm going to turn that track on one more time, and this time I'm just going to mess around with some different ideas. C major 7th. position. There you go. It's just some little seed ideas for you to work on as you're learning these arpeggios. So play them as exercises, but then try and break them out and make an idea and then spin out of it however way you want to. Hey, I'm Steve Krenz for Guitar Gathering. Keep up the great work in your learning. We're going to be doing a workout with these coming up real soon. We'll see you next time.